It's two conscious guys talking, where conscious male leaders come together and have a discussion that is deep, that is nourishing, that allows us to see the illumination of consciousness that's unfolding progressively for men that are waking up in the world, and where you can get insights on your own awakening as a man, and also for amazing women that want to learn more about men's challenges and struggles that have created some of the dysfunction we've seen within men in its society, often called, quote unquote, the patriarchy and other terms. What created it? What is the genesis of it all? What can we do about it today to empower men to be all that they're meant to be and to support the awakening of consciousness for men and women and all? Welcome, everybody. I'm so glad to have you here today. I'm here to talk about the Barbie movie. I went to see this movie recently when it first came out. I think it was the second weekend it came out. So the question is it just a big pile of dung, this movie? Or is it something quite nuanced and beautiful and amazing and all that, or something in between? Or what is this movie all about? There's so much discussion online about it. What's my take on it? What's happening with this insanity with with Barbie and this Barbie movie? All right, we're going to get into that today and have you hear my perspective on it. Here, just two conscious guys talking. This time it's me and Source. Okay, so all right. So I had to weigh in on the Barbie movie because it is something that has been going on, and it's a discussion around women and men, and the whole dynamics with men and women in the world, and yeah. So let me tell you the story. People love stories. I know you love stories. So let me just briefly tell a story about the Barbie movie for me. So when I heard about it, the Barbie movie at first, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. They're coming out with some kind of Barbie movie. And then my daughter, one of my daughters, I'll just say, told me about the movie and described what the description of the movie was before it came out, just before it came out. And the minute I started hearing it, the word woke came to my mind. Oh, it's a woke type of movie. Okay, I get it. Even though it doesn't, it's not totally apparent, because the minute they said they go, spoiler alerts by the time, it just will spoil the movie if you haven't seen it. So, the minute I hear they go from this, Barbie world, and then they got to go face the real world, I knew it's going to have to be something that could be at least considered, labeled as a woke movie. So I was like, oh yeah, okay, interesting. It's just what was my first thought. I was like, oh, okay. And then she went to see the movie. She ended up seeing the movie like 4 times or something like that, many times, all in 1 week. All in about 1 week, because everybody wanted to go see it. Everybody around here was going to see it. She loves to, she's a teenager. She wants to be involved, right? So she went to see it. And then I wasn't gonna go see it because I was like, I don't know if that it's a movie that I'm gonna enjoy. I don't know, it might, I don't want to avoid being triggered, right? Like, oh, if it triggers me, what if some horrible movie about men and stuff like that? I wasn't going to go, and I'm like, well, but if so and so goes, with the group, like who was another guy, I was like, oh, I'll go then. Sure. And I thought for sure this person wouldn't go and I wouldn't have to go see this movie. And sure enough, they were going. And I'm glad I did. I'm glad I went. We had a lot of fun. The person I was with, the guy I'm talking about that went for the group, rated it as one of its top 5 worst movies of all time. So, and then you have other people just think it's one of the best movies of all time, to show the polarity of this movie. But yeah, I watched the movie. Overall, I would just say, just as a movie, I would say, overall, I would just say about the movie, it was good, bad, and ugly to me. Okay, it was good, bad, and ugly. And it definitely was not good in the beginning, especially. It wasn't very good to me. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't think it was particularly engaging or interesting to me. And so about halfway through the movie, I fell asleep. And because I fell asleep, I missed the good stuff. I missed the part where, I want to say the good stuff. Okay, that's gonna sound horrible, but like the good stuff in that, some of the controversial stuff around, like when Ken goes all patriarchy crazy and then takes it back to Barbie world. I didn't see that part. I saw the aftermath, just right after. So I took a little nap in there. And when I came back, actually, after the nap, is when I was a little bit more into it, I would say. So, although there are some things I thought were kind of weird, but what I've said about this, movie overall throughout is, hey, it's just a movie. It's a Barbie movie. I mean, in a way, it's kind of, I get it. Like a lot of people said, well, it's kind of whimsical and all that, but it's deep and powerful, and it's really sending a message at the same time, right? So I think it's all of that, and I think that's one of the things that makes it, why it's making so much money in part. It's, I guess, you could say it's well produced in terms of the way it looks and stuff. People have said that a lot, and I guess, I mean, it is. I think I'm blown away by so much at the theater that I don't have a big opinion about that one way or another. And I thought, what I thought on the good side, you know, on the good side is that ultimately it's all good to me. Okay. But on the good side was, some of the rants by the women in the movie that really talk about the challenges women have, and I thought in some of the issues women have. So I love that. It was so, I thought it would, I felt at least, okay, this is my own take. It was well articulated at times. I don't even remember who it was, like the characters. But anyway, I just remember some of the rants were really good. And so I appreciated that. And I really appreciated how all the women that went to see it, and we were, a massive group, or a group of people that went, and everybody in the group, almost all the women, all seem to be elevated in their energy, like their vibrations seem to be higher. And I felt this sense of, I feel elevated in my energy as a woman, and maybe in their power, So I love that. I love that feeling. So I was like, this is so good. So that's what I liked, and that's what I told them when they asked me, right? Because all women that I've been talking, running into, and the movie comes up, this conversation. Many women feels like many women, it probably hasn't been that many, but like are like, well, what do you think? And kind of thing. Knowing that some of us men would be triggered by this movie, and I said ultimately I would say things like, I thought it was really good, that aspect. I told my own family and the girls in my family, my daughters and my wife, like, hey, this was great because of how uplifted it's making women feel in a way. And I kind of left it at that without getting into the things. I didn't talk too much about the things I didn't like as much, right? So, but yeah, some of the things I didn't like, and I did tell them, without going into depth, the things that I didn't maybe like so much about the movie was, and again, guys, listen all the way through, so you get to the conclusion of what I really think about this movie. So I'll go straight. I think it's ridiculous. Okay, I'll go crude and straight or whatever. I think it was totally ridiculous, the betrayal of men in the movie, right? People say, oh, it's just a movie and it's Barbie world, Kens and stuff, and it's not real. And they know, of course, not saying this is the way it really is, but they are. Like, so when they go into the real world, it's 1,000,000,000% patriarchy. And when you go to Barbie world, it's 1,000,000,000% matriarchy, right? No questions about that. There's no debating that. Like, it's one extreme to the other. And in a way, I'll get to the good part later, but like, to me, it just, to betray, even the women, is just like all in this one direction. And they had some variety, but then I don't know, it's just like, just these like, stereotypes, and stereotypes are true to a point, right? Often, anyway. And so I didn't like that. I didn't like that, this idea of, yeah, like women are nowhere now, and now they're finally getting their power kind of vibe it carries. So again, you could say, well, not really, but I that's how I clearly was perceiving it at the time, especially. So yeah, I mean, and then to make men look like complete idiots, right? Like within being a patriarchic, and well, I guess it wasn't too flattering the way they showed women, like being hypnotized by the guys and stuff, so to speak. Again, I was asleep when that whole transformation took place, but I saw the aftermath, and that they're not strong enough to, break out of the spell, until later. Finally, it wasn't too long, but eventually they figured it out before the Kens took over completely, and all patriarchy. Yeah, that all they had to do was, bat their eyes and, talk nonsense to them while they play their banjos or guitars or whatever the heck they were playing and singing, and they would lose track of everything, and not, so it's just like portraying all of them as at times as being stupid. But I thought it was particularly made men look like idiots, extra. So, and I understand, again, everybody's gonna say this is the Barbie movie, of course, but yeah, so I thought that was kind of, yeah, not great. So yeah, so I don't know. I mean, it's easy to be a critic, though. I understand, like, okay, we're dealing with a Barbie world, all right? So this is, of course, they're not your typical characters, but then even the people they showed in the real world were not, it wasn't accurate representations, So anyway, so in my complete honest opinion, so that's the part I didn't particularly appreciate. Now, why is it that it doesn't matter, and why this movie actually is, in a way, brilliant, in its own way, brilliant? It doesn't matter, number one, because it's just a movie. Okay. Number two, it doesn't matter because it has so much energetic juice in it, and it's whipped up a bunch of conversation and whatnot and discussion. That is priceless. So actually, no, this movie is a gem. It's absolutely priceless in that regard. So much so too that, although I would say after going to see it at first that I wasn't a fan, I could see myself watching it again and again and again, because there's energetic juice in the movie. And I've only been feeling this way over the last week or so, like, or just recently, like the last week or two, maybe. I'm thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? Because my one of my daughters said, like, she saw, every time she saw it, she appreciated it more. And I could see how that would happen, because you would become awake to different aspects that they're trying to show in the movie, whether you agree or disagree with whatever's being portrayed. Something is waking up inside you to see something in it. So from a conscious man's perspective, it's like, okay, yeah, like I've always, been in pain over the idea that women, in my own opinion, yeah, were, suppressed, and I could come up with rationales as to the way things became and all that stuff, and those things are valid, actually. Like, yeah, on the surface, it doesn't make any sense. Women not being able to vote, women not being able to do like tons of different things. It doesn't make any sense until you start thinking about, like, the way things are set up. It could be seen as, oh, it's all malicious and to control women and use women and all that. Okay, fine. But there's another side of it, of the beauty of, there's a preciousness to women holding that sacred feminine energy and just being and doing a lot. It's, I get it, but, and then holding the being at the same time, though, and then also, if they so choose, to this day, this is true, to become mothers, that's a huge gift. That is huge. Then the idea comes in, because I've never talked about this stuff before here. Well, that I can think of, maybe I have, that yeah, but women should be able to do more than that, and they're more than that. And yeah, it's true, right? Women can do whatever they want. I mean, I get that. No, no, why would I not? I mean, to me, that's a no-brainer. And just the devaluing of holding that spot for those that want to, for those that want to hold that sacred space and take, whether it's a lifetime or just a period of time, like they want to be mothers. And in the past, on average, there's more of that going on, right? And then people call patriarchy. I think it's part of what people call patriarchy. I'm not saying it's the only aspect, but it's like, yeah, but there was a beauty to that. So yeah, we always like, okay, we need to evolve. It could be better this way, that way. And all these changes have happened. Now you got lots of women in the workplace with the men, and is the world better? Is it worse? I don't know. I think you could see it either way, right? You could see like the world's got more equitable. It's gotten better overall between women and men. I would say that's true. And there's a downside. At the same time of there's less people being born. There's less. Quite frankly, guilt or men or women, because again, this idea that the woman only is like caretaker, so to speak, or the one that's nurturing the kids. Like, no, but that now that both are working, like we don't have someone more as that anchor for the children. Children growing up and being able to invest that time, which is so valuable. So valuable. I've seen it in my own family. I've seen it in other people's families, like how valuable that can be. I'm not saying it can't work any other way. I'm just saying it's so valuable, and it's something that I think isn't valued enough. It's not valued enough. I think there needs to be more energy towards that nowadays, because people are increasingly, what the Barbie movie is pointing to is, at least one narrative of the movie that I don't know if I agree if it's saying this or not, but people are saying, basically men and women need to be separate. They can come together if they want, but they're very different, and they got their own worlds, and Ken is Ken enough. That was another thing I wasn't crazy about. If we said a woman was just enough, everybody would be up in arms. But for the guy, in the movie, is he can be just enough. Everyone's like, oh, wasn't that was a gift to the men, like to realize you're enough. It's like, okay, yeah, but if we said that for women, everybody would be up in arms, right? So I thought it was not necessarily flattering to men. I thought it was the opposite, personally. So, and can you say it has beauty in it and it's perfect? And to say, of course, yeah, okay, to be you're enough, like everybody's enough. But I just think it's interesting that women, I believe, like many of them could be, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but would probably be up in arms if they're basically the thing was you're I don't know, come up with a name, you're Barbie enough, like that's all you are. You're Barbie enough. But us guys, we run the world. I mean, come on. So that's kind of, yeah. So, but it's in just a freaking movie, right? So, where this is being said, is it possible that's being reflected currently in the society? Maybe, I don't know, right? It's a weird looking glass, right? Where your consciousness is perceiving and creating it. Quantum physics tells us that, right? We're creating what we're seeing ultimately, like how you're looking at it, then things change. And the Wade Dyer quote, right? You change how you look at things, the way things look change, or something like that. So I think the movie's amazing ultimately because of all the aspects of it and how it stirs most people. It doesn't stir everybody. Some people just think, yeah, it's a bad movie. Yeah, didn't get much out of it. Even women I've heard say, yeah, didn't like it or didn't think much of it, right? So I heard all different opinions on the movie. So that's one of the ways I know it's a good movie, is when there's totally so many different reactions to it. I believe that means it's a good thing. So ultimately, you think it's amazing. It's great. Plan on, at some point when it's on Netflix or something or wherever, to watch it again. and again, multiple times for sure, maybe a bunch of times, because I think there's, again, so much in it. I wouldn't mind doing a whole paper analysis on it, what it's pointing to. And yeah, so it's basically where it's at. I think, the other thing I'll say on the positive side too is it shows, the Barbie world being so run by women, like just shows a flip opposite of the patriarchy, which I think is refreshing, right? So it's refreshing to be able to see that world, to taste that world, so to speak, to see that. It's not guys' night out all the time, like maybe it was in the past, some of the stereotypes of the past, because it wasn't, not every guy was like that, I'm sure. So, but like, now you have women's night out even more than ever before. Again, like nothing is black or white here with what the realities are. But like, okay, now they're ignoring the men more, and hey, I don't have any time, with the girls again. But it was good to see that, like just to see that other end of it. So having the polarity, I think, creates this wonderful situation to explore consciousness with men and women. So as much as it pains me to say, because there's so many things about the movie I'm not that crazy about, it wasn't that greatly done, and especially in the beginning of the movie for me, the overall breadth of this movie I think is really powerful and amazing if you're awake enough to see it. So anyway, so that's my take on the movie. I don't have any rating systems for it. I like to just describe what it is, rather than say it's 0 stars or 5 stars or whatever. I would recommend people consider seeing the movie. If you don't, if you're willing to deepen your awakeness and go in with that idea, I'm going in to deepen my awakeness to all these issues that are presented in the movie, whether I agree with what they portray in the movie or not, that my intention is more awakening, more consciousness, more awareness around all these issues. And hey, it's just a movie. It's here just to point to something. And I don't have to agree with the movie. It's a fictional movie. It's not like they're saying the documentary or trying to say anything in that particular way. So that's all the analysis I'll do on this show for it. But I just wanted to put that out there, guys, is if you liked it, watch it again. If you didn't like it, watch it again. And I can't believe I'm saying this, because part of me is just like, oh, it's all crap. It was no good. Honest to God, like part of me feels that way. But if I'm honest about it, no, I'm going to watch it again and again. And wherever I'm triggered, I'm just going to continue to work through that. And it does open consciousness. There's aspects of this movie that really open consciousness. So in my opinion, now, if you don't agree with me, that's great. I would love to hear your opinion. I love when people disagree with me on things like this. Share your comments. Tell me all about it. Got to hear where you're at with it. And it'll be a lot of fun discussion. And yes, so I say yes to men power, yes to women power. Awaken men and women power. let's party on together, in our beautiful, blissful state of union with the divine and with masculine and feminine and an evolving world and embracing all of it. So, all right. So I'm grateful to have shared this, podcast show with you about Barbie today, and look forward to hearing from you. Okay. All right, everybody, that's it for today, and look forward to being with you the next time. Thank you for listening in to Just Two Conscious Guys Talking, where our mission is to impact millions of men, ultimately, to deepen their awakening by examining their consciousness of what's been unfolding for them with male stereotypes and programming that has allowed them to have opportunities to evolve during these times. It's an exciting time to bring more love to men and women around the world, and we are grateful for you tuning in today. Feel free to share this episode and keep tuning in, and also look in the show notes for a link to get notifications of future episodes. Until the next time, everyone, goodbye for now.